It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the SUNY Cortland's head men's ice hockey coach, Coach Joey Cardarelli. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college men's ice hockey?
I played hockey all my life and really thought when I was in high school that it might be something that I'd like to get involved in. And while I was doing my graduate work, I coached some youth hockey and had the opportunity while I was working a real job to get involved and become an assistant coach at Oswego State. So it was something I loved coaching. And the opportunities presented themselves and took advantage. And 20 years later, here I am.
Of course, what was that experience like getting to play collegiate ice hockey?
I really think that I had a great college experience that was just bolstered by the opportunity to be part of the team and put the effort in on a day-by-day, weekly basis with my teammates to achieve a goal. My senior year, we won a conference, but it's lifelong memories and friendships and experiences that just wouldn't get by not being part of a team, not being in that experience.
Of course, what was that experience like getting to put on that uniform, and what were some of your biggest accomplishments as a player?
I saw the game well. And it was probably a generation too early as a 5'10" at that point, undersized defenseman playing in the 90s. That wasn't the normal. I would have had a lot more success now. But I saw the game. I created opportunities, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. I had a mean streak and didn't mind physicality. Just when you're giving up 70 pounds in the old way of playing, that was a bit of a problem. But that was my biggest attribute, was seeing the game, seeing plays develop, being able to create on the offensive side.
After your collegiate time, what was it like getting into college coaching?
Well, I got my graduate degree, and I worked out in the real world for about 8 or 9 years. And like I said, just coached some youth hockey, and got involved with USA Hockey on a national level with the player development and coaching education program, as well as in the district and local. So that opened my eyes to a whole nother avenue of coach development for sure. My last year in Washington D.C., I coached the junior caps team, and then 9 years after getting out of college, made my way back to the game and became an assistant at Oswego. It just a good opportunity. Certainly didn't do it for the money. Just it's a way better way of life than sitting in an office 9 to 5.
Of course, what was that experience like going to SUNY Oswego and becoming the assistant coach?
A little daunting. Ed Gozek was a long-time assistant there, who took over as the head coach a year after they made the NCAA championship game. So expectations were high. Only graduated 3 guys out, and it was a good season. A lot of seniors on that team, but the expectations were very high. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have Ed Gozek as a mentor. In that experience, have the student athletes be just real great guys that were really engaged in their experience and their love for the school and for the team.
What was your experience like getting to coach the National Sports Academy?
So I felt I needed some head coach experience at the prep school level. It helped me to get a head coaching job in college, and it was great. We had absolutely fantastic 2 years at NSA. The administrators were awesome, and great kids. It was different. It was all inclusive. We drove the buses. We handled all of the equipment ordering, the scheduling, all of it. So I had my first taste with Gillade, being part of that process with potential student athletes that we were bringing in. So it was very educational, and it was great. Lake Placid is an awesome town, and I still really love it there. So I'm grateful for that opportunity.
How was it like becoming the assistant coach for American International College?
So it was a chance to get back into college coaching at the Division I level, and it had its challenges. I think that as a continual learner, you take these experiences, you add them to your toolbox, and you just see what you like and what you don't like, and there's growth from all of those opportunities. It was a challenge. It was literally the worst team in Division I hockey, and it had great guys, but certainly wasn't the best opportunity for sure.
Of course, what was that transition like from going from college to then going to the prep school level and coaching on the prep school level?
At college, here at Cortland, any of the players that want to get an opportunity to go play pro hockey have gotten that chance. We play at a high enough level where they're sought after. But at the prep school level, they're only playing college. And sometimes with that between step of juniors, it was great because I had experience in recruiting kids to the program, but now got more experience at pushing kids out the door to college, finding the right fit both hockey-wise, academically, and socially for them. Really helped shape my views on how I recruit to Cortland.
What was that feeling like coming to SUNY Cortland to become the next head men's ice hockey coach?
Well, I spent 2 years coaching junior hockey, and it's I missed the college game. So I came in as an assistant coach. The previous head coach had left in August, and being a state university, Portland didn't have enough time to do a search for a new head coach before the school year began. So Tom Cranfield, who was the former coach, elevated to an assistant athletic director, was the intern that year. And I came in and kind of ran the day-to-day that first year as the assistant. And it was great. I knew Portland being in the same conference as Oswego when I coached there. But just to get to learn more about this community and what's important here, and right from President Eric Bitterbaum on down on the emphasis on great experience for the students. Student athletes in particular just had a fantastic opportunity at Portland. So it was hooked. I was fortunate enough the next year to be named the head coach, and I love it. It's our home now, and a place that I treasure.
Of course, what was that experience like becoming the assistant coach and learning the program and then getting to take over the program the next year?
Yeah, there was certainly a call for the student athletes, because that was for the returners, 3 head coaches in 3 years. As an assistant, certainly some recruiting and scouting responsibilities along with our head coach. But it was a change for these players to have 3 different voices in 3 years leading the program. I think we had some success. We had the program's first All-American and Nick Zappia. And frankly, he was probably the best player in the country. He led the NCAA in goals per game, points per game, just fantastic. And program's first SUNY Rookie of the Year, Dan Broderick. He had just a fantastic start to his college career as well. It's want to make some changes. You want to put your stamp on the program, but try to do it incrementally so that the athletes can make that transition with you.
Of course, what was that feeling like for you to get to step onto that ice for the first time as a head coach?
Well, it was my goal. I wanted to be in college hockey. I like the Division III aspect of college hockey, the emphasis on the student athlete. So, yeah, that first day stepping on the ice, it was exciting, and didn't know that how long I'd be here, what we would do with the program. But that first day is just filled with hope, of optimism.
While being the head coach for Cortland, what has that been like also getting to coach the Team Navy team?
Yeah, so every summer up until COVID, I've worked at the national level with USA Hockey Player Development. And I've coached at the select festivals. They usually run about a week or so with the best 140 to 180 players in the country for that birth year. So that's been really rewarding as well. It's a chance to see some elite hockey players who many go on to play in the NHL. We see it on TV today. But being surrounded by 20 some other coaches at the college and the juniors and professional guys, that it's a great learning experience, a bonding moment, and it's certainly both a challenge to take that 10 days over the summer and leave the family and go out and run those camps, those teams at the camp. But just again, more lifelong friendships and experiences. it's really been great.
While at SUNY Cortland, what have been some of your biggest accomplishments as a head coach?
Well, we had a best season program history in a lot of ways last year. And it's been a long push getting to where we are now. But we have the most SUNYAC wins, we have the best winning percentage in SUNYAC, had the best special teams ever in the program with the top power play and penalty kill. And we've been building towards this for a couple of years. So in the process, we entered 6 tournaments, in-season tournaments, and we were able to win the first 5 of them, which again is just a way to start pushing the program forward. And now we feel like we're a continual contender for the SUNY champion.
What was that first win like getting in as the head coach?
I still remember being in the locker room afterwards. I was against Geneseo. We had a goalie at the time, was a freshman, so I tried giving him the game clock, and the guys insisted that I was going to get. So it was nice. I still remember that feeling. Still can picture the guys in the room afterwards. I remember 1 or 2 of the plays on the ice, but that was the hockey part was secondary to just the experience with the guys.
What does a typical game day look like for you as the head coach versus for your players?
For them, if we're in classes, we'll go to class, we'll meet 2 hours before the game starts as a team. We'll have a brief meeting and we'll do some work getting their bodies ready, whether it's with our athletic trainer or just collectively as a group. And then the pre-game practice on ice, and we go at it. We try to keep it real simple for them. For me and the coaching staff, it's a much longer process. Even at the Division III level, we're still responsible for a lot of the logistics. We just want to make sure that everything's in place. So we'll start in the morning and make sure that we're ready with our meeting with the guys. We have all the logistics in place for the officials, for the scores, any other events that are going on that day. And just really try to make sure that when the student athletes come to the rink, they're just ready to be able to play hockey.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for the SUNY Cortland's men's ice hockey program?
The biggest thing is that we have an athletic-minded school. SUNY Cortland won 25 team national championships over the years, and that's the expectation. So it hasn't quite been that for hockey, even though all of the hockey alumni I've ever talked to have loved their experience here at Cortland. We just needed to really elevate our play. And as we recruited student athletes, the big thing is, you want to put in the time and effort to get the most out of your experience. One of the biggest things is that when we're led by our points and by our play, by juniors and seniors, guys that have continually gotten better over the course of their career. That's what's helped make us potentially a elite program that can challenge that title.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you face each week?
Well, the big ones traditionally have been Oswego, Plattsburgh, and Geneseo. They've been teams that have been nationally ranked over the last number of years and have very successful programs. Rockport, Potsdam, Buffalo State, Fredonia, and Morrisville round out the rest of our conference. And the great thing about playing in the SUNYAC is that on any given day, any team can beat anybody else. So those 16 games are a challenge, and you have to be ready to compete. That's what makes it fun too. It's not like junior hockey where they play 60 games. Well, we only get 25. We only get 16 conference games. It's a way different experience.
What is that like, obviously getting to play some of those teams like Buffalo State and Potsdam and Portland at home versus going away?
Well, certainly the travel is a part of it. Again, for our guys, it means that they're at home. They can have their routines, go to class if it's a school day. Um, Everything's ready for them. They know what to expect. On the road is just a different challenge. If to pack their bags, we have a couple of equipment managers who do a great job in making sure that our players have everything else that they need to be successful. But it's just different. You have to be able to focus, and that's different between being at home in front of your fans and being on the road. And you play at a place like Geneseo has an awful lot of student fans there. That's a great atmosphere. Oswego, Plattsburgh always have really good crowds, so it makes it fun. But it's different. I don't think better or worse.
Of course, what is that experience like getting to play those tough teams like Plattsburgh?
Well, that's why we play the games. It's it's the easier ones to get up for and be emotionally and mentally ready to play because you know they're going to be good. You know that the X's and O's matter every shift. You lose one shift, you can lose the game. So I think those are why we play college hockey. They're conference opponents, they're foes. You know it's going to be a difficult game. You really get up for that.
Of course, how is that experience getting to play those different SUNY schools around the state of New York?
Well, it's sometimes a bigger challenge when we play a team that's below us in the standings. And you travel a couple of hours, you go to their rink, maybe there's not a lot of fans there. And that takes a different mindset for our athletes to be able to perform at the highest level. And that's something when we talk about the culture that we've really had to focus on. And every game is important. You have to bring your all because play a team that on paper doesn't seem to be at the level that we're at. You have to probably even prepare a little bit harder to stay focused for that 60, what you're expected. And
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play men's ice hockey?
so we typically recruit 20-year-olds that are aging out of junior hockey. And that process starts in the fall at the league showcases, follows up throughout the course of the fall until Christmas with text messages and some in-person visits to the student athletes games. But it's after really January that the push goes getting applications and having on-campus visits with prospective students. Without there being a Division II in men's ice hockey, many of our guys are on that bubble for Division I opportunity and sometimes even scholarship qualifications too. So it's a little bit longer process than what some of our other programs at SUNY in the SUNYAC have to deal with. But at the end of the day, it's about finding the right human being that's going to be a good fit in our culture and hopefully can contribute on the ice.
What does that official visit look like for those prospective student athletes coming to SUNY Cortland?
We want to give them an experience in what the day in the life of a hockey player looks like at Cortland. So you see the facilities, and that's great. We have fantastic facilities at Cortland between our athletic fields and work center, and our academics are outstanding. But it's also spending time with some of our current student athletes, and they're the ones who will bring them to see their houses, see the city of Cortland, go bring them up to the main academic buildings and walk them through there and give them their experience. Because we want guys that are going to fit in with our culture, and we rely on our current student athletes to show the prospective guys what that can look like, and then also get their feedback on whether or not they feel that person may fit into who we are.
As a men's ice hockey coach and head coach, what is it like getting to see those players that are freshmen getting to put on that Cortland jersey for the first time versus your seniors putting it on for the last time?
That's pretty good, because the NCAA doesn't allow us to really start on ice with our players until 5 days before our first game. And it's only 5 days. So it's a whirlwind for the new guys, official practices and getting that experience, and then getting thrown right into exhibition games. But we treat them just like we would any others. So you see some nervousness and some guys that are a little hesitant. Even where do they stand for the national anthem? That's unique. And unfortunately, the last game of the year is always tough. Only one team can win the last game of the year and be happy, and we haven't quite achieved that yet. So there's a lot of crying. There's a lot of guys who won't take that jersey off for a while as they sit in the stall and contemplate what just concluded for them. And it's still a great experience. And last season we had one of our guys come back for his 5th year, and losing in the playoffs was tough, but that was a big long hug, and he was really happy for the opportunity to come back after COVID and play out his last year. So it's kind of bittersweet.
What is that like as a head coach, getting to see those players go on to the professional hockey level, whether it's the ECHL, ACHL, or even the NHL?
Like I've mentioned, we've had guys that if they want to go play pro hockey, they've had the opportunity, and it's for some of them, it's a challenge. I mentioned Nick Zappia graduated my first year as the head coach and had a really promising college career that he brought into the ECHL, and hated pro hockey. Just hated that experience. And some guys that have just held on. They've played at the lower levels for 6, 7 years, but they keep earning a paycheck playing a game that they love. So that's what we're looking for. Guys to just add to their experiences, put off the real world as long as they can, and get in real world jobs. Play the game that you love, and as long as you like the experience, then they don't mind the bus trips, and it's fun hearing some of their stories and what they're experiencing.
Of course, as a head coach, what is that like, getting to see those former players getting to play on TV in the league, whether it's the NHL, ACHL, or ECHL?
Well, it's there's a little bit less of that, but we try to make a point, especially when we have seniors who, after our season's over, go off to finish their start their pro career as that season winds down. And that's fun when they were just in our locker room a week ago, and now they're getting paid to play some hockey.
Of course, what are some of your future plans for the SUNY Cortland men's ice hockey program moving forward?
Well, we've increased our win totals, we've increased our positioning in the conference, and we really feel like we have all of the pieces right now to be able to challenge for that SUNYAC title and a berth to the NCAAs. As I talked about, we have 25 team NCAA championships here at Cortland. We want one of them in hockey.
Of course, what advice would you give those high school athletes looking to become college men's ice hockey players?
It's tough, and it's a late development sport. So the advice is to play junior hockey, play with a coach that's going to help elevate your game individually. We don't really look at the team stats as much as just the way that hockey player approaches the game. So we want guys to continually get better so that when they step into our roster, they're able to contribute.
What advice would you give those high school athletes that are looking to become college men's ice hockey players?
Again, playing junior hockey for a couple of years and take some classes. Take some college classes, even if they're online, even if it's just one a semester, but keep your foot in the academic door so that you get a bit ahead on the credits. And it's not quite the surprise when you get back full time into the classroom.
What advice would you give those freshmen entering their first year of collegiate men's ice hockey?
It's going to be harder than you think it is. And it's a balance between the academics, the athletics, and the social life, that you have a great experience, but that you're prepped for the start of the season.
What advice would you give those seniors that are looking to play in the professional league, whether it's the NHL, ECHL, or ACHL?
That's even more difficult. We're fortunate that the SUNY is very well respected and our players have been given opportunities, but it's, again, being in the best shape that you can and being a student of the game, so that whether it's the systems that a team plays or just the tactics that coach wants you to employ, and make yourself as versatile as possible so that you can keep getting a paycheck as long as you want.
What advice would you give those college men's ice hockey players after their collegiate career looking to get into college coaching like you have?
It's always a challenge. There's a finite number of jobs, and the pay is usually not as good as they think that it might be. It certainly can be a grind, but it's a great way of life. You stay involved in the game that you love, and you're not just sitting behind a desk for a 9 to 5.
What advice would you give future head coaches looking to become head coaches and get to run their own program?
Get a lot of experiences, and whether it's working hockey schools or volunteering with other programs, sitting in with other teams to see how they develop their culture. And all of that off ice is just as important as the X's and O's.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find the SUNY Cortland's men's ice hockey program app on social media along with you?
Oh, we're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. We have a pretty good staff that keeps that up to date. So it's Cortland Hockey on all three of those platforms.
Thank you again, Coach Joe Cardarelli, for your interview, and best luck in your future as a head men's ice hockey coach for SUNY Cortland.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Joe, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you, buddy.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.